Hey traders, Raghee here, and we're going to talk about relative performance based watch lists and the symbols that I've got on my radar for next week and why they're on my radar and what I want to do with them. So what we're looking at right now is the 3-month relative performance on FinViz of the futures, and then this is the 1-month relative performance on FinViz. Now, take a quick look, even pause the video if you'd like for a moment. And what I'd like you to look at is what are those leading, from a percentage base standpoint, what are those leading strength names? And so it's pretty simple, right? The top 4 or 5 names, clearly, what are they? What is really strong right now? What has been? This is usually going to be the best start, not what your trades are going to be, but this is going to be the best beginning to a watch list of potential buys. Now, let me mention something. A lot of traders do the opposite. What they do is they say, well, coffee or cocoa or rice or the VIX or oats or natural gas or palladium or the US dollar, gosh, they're so low, they've got to go up higher. No, they don't, right? We don't want, this is akin to picking a bottom. It doesn't even sound ladylike to me or gentlemanly. So we want to stick with names that are strong and buy the pullbacks within them. So you can look at the quarterly, you can look at the monthly, and look at what names are sitting there. So the ones that are catching my eye when I look at the quarterly and when I look at the monthly, back on over there, the two that are catching my eye are the two we're going to talk about right now. So I'm going to head on over to the daily time frame, and I'm going to talk about specifically Dr. Copper and crude. These are the two canaries in a coal mine. These two are really interesting ways to look at the way perception about economies are playing out around the world, because if the market is anticipating economic bouncing, all right, kind of a recovery, or if at very least it's mimicking the strength we're seeing in stocks, we're going to see that playing out in, as they call it, Dr. Copper and crude. Dr. Copper, HG, this is the September contract, is a double green uptrend. We are going to look for pullback buys. In fact, I'd love to see a little bit of a pullback to the 13 or 21 exponential moving average. Even the point of control for the year is sitting right here, which is fantastic. So I would love to take advantage of a pullback. We want to go on over to CLU. So right now, most of your platforms, if you were to pull up a continuous contract, is going to pull up August. Make sure you go out to September because we're winding down the August contract. And I'm looking for a pullback to the value area low. I think aggressively, I'd start off with about $40.05. But I'd really like to see something to the value area low of July, or even lower to the 34 EMA on the high around $39.50, which means within the context of this uptrend, I'd like to see a pullback. And you might say, well, Rog, when might that come? I mean, look how many we've had already. I'm not talking about something that we haven't seen a number of times. And again, really nice double green market. And that means we have the opportunity to, as they say, buy the dip. That's exactly what we're looking to do. Give me a dip. Buy the dip is valid in an uptrend. Uptrends are easily identified with our trade flags here. So those are two markets that I've got on my radar for next week. I will buy pullbacks in both of those. I have been buying pullbacks in crude. We're shifting over to September now, and we're going to continue to look for pullbacks in copper, the September contract. And again, 13 or the 21 period exponential moving averages would be two aggressive levels for that. All right, let's see if this follows through next week. If it does, we'll talk about it again, but put them on the radar. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next week.